Tameside Radio Sports Talk with Betfred. Visit your local Betfred shop today for a variety of great offers and check out our app for great features like Pick Your Punt Builder. Whenever you bet, Betfred. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Hello and welcome. This is Sports Talk with me, Lewis Connell. And as always, I'm joined by Peter Spencer from Betfred. How are you doing today, Peter?
Yeah, great. Thanks very much.
Very good. We'll start with the Manchester derby. That's the only place we could start with. It's obviously a massive game for both sides. We know the rivalry's there. Both teams are coming off the back of wins in the Champions League. City's was a little bit more comfortable than United's, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly was. I mean, the bottom line is that I want to make a plea for City fans to behave themselves when the Bobby Charlton tributes start. It's the first derby since his passing. And City fans need to remember that this fella actually won the World Cup for England. He's a national treasure. And if you think back, in those days, City's Mike Summerby, Francis Lee and everybody used to be friendly with George Best, Dennis Law, and obviously Sir Bobby, and it would be such a sad day for Manchester as a whole if the City and United fans don't combine and do a fantastic tribute. I'm sure they will. I mean, it's happened before. I remember when it was the Munich 50th anniversary, the City fans behaved impeccably, and I'm pretty sure they will again with Sir Bobby, because the vast majority of City fans are well behaved and would recognise what a fantastic servant to the game Sir Bobby was. So Betfred go into the game with City not favourites, United favourites, just. I can see a draw. 4-6 is the odds for that. Haaland is 5-2 to score the first goal. Højlund 8-1 to score the first goal, and Rashford's 8-1 as well. Martial 9-1. Garnacho 10-1 to score the first goal with Betfred. And then we've got Harry Maguire, the hero of the midweek game in the Champions League, 33-1 to score the first goal. McTominay, the villain, if you like, 18-1 to score the first goal. And as for City, well, Haaland 5-2 to score the first goal. Alvarez is 11-2. Phil Foden, local lad, 8-1. Grealish 10-1 to score the first goal, and Betfred have Rodri 16-1. He's just the sort of big game player to break the deadlock. 16-1 at Betfred. And as for this week, well, United did make hard work of it against Copenhagen. And City just carried on winning like you'd expect them to.
Yeah, it was redemption that in many ways for United, with obviously Onana making that great save at the end after all he's been through, and then Maguire obviously scoring the winner as well. Would you go into the game? Would you start Maguire?
I would, yeah. I mean, he's on the roll, isn't he?
Yeah.
Definitely start him. To be honest, I didn't even think it was a penalty.
No, I didn't.
He didn't, well, it certainly wasn't intentional. He would never have kicked it, gone so high if he'd have known the play was there. But it was given. They often get these 50-50 decisions go against the English teams because I think our refereeing is a little bit more flexible than on the continent. But anyway, they got the great save, and it was just brilliant, wasn't it? What an occasion. I mean, it's such a dull game. Everyone's forgotten how dull it was. I mean, I was tweeting at half time that the United wouldn't have performed like that under Sir Alex Ferguson, and then they just took away all the poor play, was just forgotten about, and I thought Ericsson made a big difference when he came on, but it was just a great spectacle at the end, wasn't it? And everyone's remembering that now.
Yeah, definitely. And as for City, of course, like you mentioned, Haaland was among the goals again. 2 for him. You would think that he'd probably have a say on Sunday.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see whether Maguire has actually reached his peak, his England form perhaps, because he'll be up against the greatest centre forward, certainly in England, if not the world at the moment, in Haaland. Yeah. So that'll be a huge, huge game for him. What I suggest to Harry Maguire is an early night.
Definitely, yeah. And as for the league as a whole, of course, United have had a bit of an awful start, really. But if they do win the game, they're actually only 3 points off City. But then again, City haven't had the best start that they could have wanted either.
No, Betfred still have City as the outright favourites to win the Premier League. I think it's I know it's the strength in the squad. They've got two players for every position, effectively, and their squad is far, far superior to everybody else's. And we all know how injuries will kick in at some stage and suspensions. And they've still not got De Bruyne back in the team, have they? So City are 8-13 with Betfred to retain the Premier League title. Arsenal, Liverpool both 5-1, followed by the leaders at the moment, Tottenham, they're 10-1. Newcastle 33-1. Aston Villa 66-1. I know everyone's waiting for the United 80-1. To go on and win the Premier League, which will take some doing because they're currently 8th in the table.
And as for top 4, you would sort of think that it'll perhaps stay as it is, really.
Yeah, that's what Betfred thinks will happen. But United always on the periphery of a top 4 finish. I say always for the last few seasons. United are 10-3 for a top 4 finish at the moment, but as you say, we've got City, Arsenal, Liverpool, their odds on, and then Spurs, Newcastle and Aston Villa, they're coming on strong like they often do at this stage of the season, and they sometimes fade, but we'll see this season. I think we can expect an half-decent season from Aston Villa this year.
And just touching on relegation, it's going to be a bit of a struggle this season, you would think, for all 3 of the newly promoted sides.
Yeah, well, we've got Sheffield United 1-6, Luton 1-5, then Bournemouth 11-8, Burnley in 4th place now on the Betfred odds. They're 13-8 to be relegated. Everton still there and thereabouts at 2-1, and any mischievous City fans out there, well, you can take United at 500 to 1 to be relegated.
And just moving on to a bit of rugby now, it was obviously England and Tonga. England won that first test and they're in action again in the second one, and they're favourites for that. Yeah,
a bit of bad feeling, which surprised me actually. We've got the Tonga management critical of England's speed in the ruck. This has antagonised the England squad, or it says it's antagonised them. I can't see them being that cheesed off about it, seeing they won 22-18 in the first game. So in the second game at Huddersfield, we've got England odds on 4-7, Tonga 6-4. England have made 2 changes. Matty Ash, the Warrington flyer, has come in place of Tommy Makinson, who injured his wrist in the first game, and Liam Farrell, the Wigan captain, is coming in place of Morgan Knowles, front rower. He's injured as well. And we've got, is an half-decent bet, Matty Ashton, who probably thinks he should have started anyway in the first test. He's 10-1 to score the first try.
And as for the Rugby Union World Cup, England are in action tonight against Argentina in the 3rd place playoff, and then it's obviously the final tomorrow. It's New Zealand against South Africa.
Yeah, England looking to finish the tournament on a high, having missed out so narrowly against South Africa in the semi-final. So they're in the 3rd place playoff against Argentina. Betfred have Argentina 5-2, England 4-11. And then the big one, New Zealand against South Africa. Well, we think New Zealand will win the game. They're 4-5, South Africa 6-5. New Zealand free-flowing game, of course. I think neutrals will probably prefer New Zealand to win, but you never know. South Africa fantastic in the set plays, the line-outs and the scrums, and they shouldn't be discounted with the strength that they've got in the pack. And as I say, Betfred have New Zealand slight favourites.
And just to finish, we've got a winner who has won £50,000 from a £5 bet.
Yeah, this is Ashley Nixon, aged 50, from Nottingham. He's a father of 2. He won on the 49's numbers game. He had a £5 bet, as you say, and won £50,000. His numbers were 9, 12, 19 and 24. They're based around family birth dates. He's had them for many years. About 2 years ago, his wife almost won 30,000 on these same numbers. She thought she'd won, but then she realised she'd forgotten to put the bet on. So a few years later, they've got the 50,000 in the bank now. He works as dealing with hazard waste in a hospital, which can't be that much of a pleasant job, but he's desperate to carry on with his work. He loves his job, does Ashley, and he's going to carry on doing this work, even though he's got 50,000 in the bank. So I asked him what he's going to do with the money. He said he's going to do some garden and house repairs, and then quite ominously he said he's got unfinished business in Las Americas in Tenerife. So I said, well, what do you mean by unfinished business? And he simply said that he only spent a week there. He loved it so much, but they couldn't get around to enough of the sites in Tenerife, so he's desperate to get back there and complete his holiday. So that's a fantastic win for him. His wife's a carer, so she works very hard as well. She's been suffering ill health recently, so it'll give her a nice boost as well.
Well, congratulations to them. They sound like very worthy winners, and all the best to them on the break. And if you do fancy a bet, like our great man there, you can bet online on the app or in Betfred stores. And thank you, as always, for joining us, Peter. We'll see you at the same time next week.
That's great. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Tameside Radio Sports Talk with Betfred. Visit your local Betfred shop today for a variety of great offers and check out our app for great features like Pick Your Punts Builder. Whenever you bet, Betfred. 18+, begambleaware.org.